I think if you read the history of the church, what amazes me is that every generation has acted with boldness. From that first group who said, okay, we're going to meet in a tent and then over a hardware store, to the congregation that decided to move from downtown to this location 6 years after it had built a building before. The group that gathered here that in the middle of the Depression decided to borrow money to build the Williams building. The decision to go on television. At every generation, the power of this church's story is it has sought to be bold, to dream big, to do whatever they thought it would take to reach this community. If downtown Oklahoma City, with its current growth, was a suburb, there would be a clamor to start a new church, because you're looking at thousands moving into downtown. The sad reality would be you couldn't. We have this incredible opportunity as the community grows. So we're in the right place at the right time to meet the downtown community like we've never done it before.
I think this campaign to keep this place, we're not talking about a huge, massive change of modernization type thing. We want to improve our air conditioning, make it comfortable for people. We want to make this a place so that people can carry on their social and spiritual activities and expressions of freedom and enjoy one another and have a wonderful community of downtown. Downtown needs a lighthouse. It's not all just, life's not just all physical and the dollar. It's more than that.
One of the main things that I've seen that's special is the fact that there are so many different things going on. It almost seems impossible how many different ministries that are happening. The church members are very involved in several different ministries, and that's how it takes place. They care about the community, and that shows, and they are reaching the community. And they're doing more than really is possible, and it shows that God is involved in doing something that's bigger than this place.
One of the things that the director of Kids Hope says, we need to be Jesus in skin and go among these kids. So many people say there's no religion, there's no God in our public schools. Well, if God's not there, it's because we're not there, because that's the way it needs to happen. And I've often said that if it hadn't been for the public school and the Baptist church, I don't know where I would have been, because I had very little direction as a child. And I can relate to what those children are missing out on if they don't have friendly old ladies who come and love them and tell them they're special and that they can do anything. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful ministry.
There's certain places that you can sit inside our sanctuary on a Sunday morning. You just can't hear. I mean, you just can't hear it. If you go back 7, 8 years ago, there wasn't that many people in the sanctuary. So it wasn't a real big problem because everybody, I guess, kind of migrated to where they could hear well. And so you didn't really hear a whole lot about it. And the reality of it was a problem back then as well. The reason why it's a bigger problem now is because there's more people coming. There's more people sitting in more places. It's more evident where the holes are, if you will, the audio holes. The less problems we have in this building with the audio system, with bricks and mortar, with doorknobs coming off doors, with toilets not flushing, with sinks not working, with on and on and on. Right now, the way we're taking care of that is with voluntary work. You know, it's robbing us of time that we could spend out in our community.
I am sensing within the congregation, sensing even at deacons' meetings, a very optimistic sense of good things coming, and it is very exciting. The things that the capital campaign will bring to us as far as updating systems, updating facilities in general, and doing repairs as necessary. I think that campaign will enable us to get that stuff done, move it aside so that we can go forward with our missions and ministries.
Early on, when the Renew First Committee began to meet, almost 2 years ago now, early on we decided that the most important factors in this entire process is ministry and missions of our church. That means a global approach. That means a street approach. It means anything that God might have for us to do. If we do the right things in terms of seeking God and God's will, God's direction, the money will come.
It'd be foolhardy of us to go into this campaign and to talk about everyone needs to give X amount. We're all of different financial situations, we're all of different careers, we're all of different lifestyle situations and life stage situations. We've got a lot of folks that are just starting out in life, and so I remember just starting out, and things were a little different, and you had to watch it pretty close. I've been fortunate, and a lot of our other members have been fortunate, and we want to give of what God has given to us, and I think if we all band together and take that spirit and not withhold from God, then no telling what we can do.
I think every person in this church has to go to the Lord to find out how much they should give and where it should come from. And I think that if each person in our congregation does not pray about this and does not support the campaign with prayer, then it won't be a successful campaign. But if we do support it with prayer, each one of us supports it with prayer, then God will bless it, because we're His children, this is His church, and He's going to bless that kind of an effort.
One of the important parts about the Renew First process for me is that it addresses both our budget and our capital campaign. And I think it's important for all of us to remember that the first pledge, the most important pledge, is to the budget. That affects how we live our lives and how we operate every day as a congregation. The capital campaign is more exciting to talk about, because we can imagine the restoration of the tower. We can imagine an air conditioning system that actually comes on and cuts off when we want it to. We can imagine a sound system where everyone can actually hear. We can imagine doors that don't stick when you open them. And those are visual, tangible things we can put our hands on. But I think the exciting part of how we've designed this is we've said our first priority is to make sure we fulfill our mission and ministry, because that heart for the world is what makes us who we are. And I honestly believe that the reason God is blessing us now is because we've chosen to place His heart as our first priority. I think when you do what God calls you to do, when you place as your priority the love of the world in His name, then He will bless your church, and that's what we're seeing now.